Pressure is really on, and understandably so, for people who are in business to be able to get a clear roadmap about how we get back to work and how that starts on Friday. Not a process that starts on Friday that kicks the can down the road for 2 weeks. You know the cost, $4 billion a week. And it's easy for everyone in government to say, oh, look, we might just wait another week. Eradication is not the policy, all right? We are at a stage now where the thing is under control. Yes, there will be an uptick when it returns, but Deb Frecklington leading the push to get all those Queenslanders back to work now.
Anastasia Palaszczuk keeps saying that she's just going to kick this down the track. I don't think that's what businesses are calling for. What businesses need are certainty to protect their jobs and to restart the Queensland economy.
Cory, we keep hearing about roadmaps and plans and all the rest of it here. Is your expectation on Friday that big decisions are made, or big decisions look like they're being made as things get kicked down the road where, look, we agree you can reopen, but we will look at it over the next 3 weeks, which is all code for nothing changes?
Well, Paul, I think there's probably a middle ground there. I think there will be some big decisions because government realise they cannot continue down the path they're on. I mean, if not anything to do with the economy, it's just about human nature. People will obey and accept regulations or limits for a period of time, but they're already rebelling against it and saying, no, we've had a guts full, this has been overcooked. And the streets of Adelaide or the parks of Adelaide have been really busy in recent times because people are saying, oh, to hell with it, it's not that important anymore. So the government will have to make some substantive decisions, and I would think it's going to be some baby steps. So they'll allow gyms to open and other recreational outlets to appease people a little bit, and then they'll allow shops to perhaps have a greater opportunity to open, then pubs and restaurants, but with limits. That is how I would predict it will happen, and over the course of maybe 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, they'll try and get us back to normal. But I still think it's going to be a massive battle to return confidence to the economy, and that's what an economic recovery really requires, is confidence.
Yeah, Stephen, in Victoria, 2 people can't play golf. Daniel Andrews is proud of what he's been able to achieve on the health front, but on the economic front, he needs to show the same aggressiveness. Do you think he's going to start to show that from Friday, or we're just going to get hopes and plans and fingers crossed and we'll be talking about exactly the same pain, but just with a different spin on it?
Look, I mean, Victoria was the toughest going in, and it's been the most cautious coming out. The Premier and the Chief Medical Officer said a week or 2 ago they wanted to see 100,000 tests done, and then they'd have the data they needed to make some hopefully very big calls. And I think that the testing that they've been doing is getting them close to that. I think they'll achieve their target, and then they'll be able to make an informed decision. But I don't think there's anything wrong with being cautious in coming out. We've got a few cluster outbreaks here in Melbourne. You can see we hopefully have got them under control. But we said in Victoria we wanted to do 100,000 tests. That's what every medical expert around the world is saying. You've got to have the right testing regime. So we set a target, we're close to meeting it. I would hope, as an avid golfer and as somebody who's not been able to play golf for quite a while, I would hope that the golf, and for those who fish, my good friend Kim Carr is an avid fisherman, and I would hope that we're both able to indulge our passions over the next week or 2. But to be fair to the Premier and the Chief Medical Officer, they set down a stringent path for Victoria to follow. They've almost completed that path, and I would hope to see there will be some small baby steps, as Cory called them, and then some major changes once we've got to look at that 100,000 tests.
Pauline, should gatherings of up to 10 be okay this weekend around the country? Put simply, should families be able to get together for Mother's Day?
Of course they should be able to. When we look at the stats compared to other countries, 95 deaths or 97 deaths that you said, no, your comments and the cases that are around Australia. As I've said, Paul, all along, coronavirus, the average age of deaths is 80 years of age. Now, and a lot of those people had underlying health issues, cancer, respiratory problems, and they had underlying health issues. Now, that's why they died possibly not because of the coronavirus, but with the coronavirus. The thing is that I think that people have to start getting back in the routine. As I said, open up the country. Those people who are the most vulnerable, then they lock themselves away. Let them go into a lockdown mode. Those elderly, those people that have these problems. You can't keep the country locked up the way that they are. I think it's, you know, we need to start loosening the reins. People should be able to get out there and spend Mother's Day. Why not? I just think now that they're being overprotective. I understand we don't have a vaccine. We're not going to have a vaccine till next year sometime if we're lucky. So they're having trouble finding a vaccine for it because most of it, 90% of it fails, the vaccines that they have found. So it's going to take a long time before we get it. So we've got to start then telling those people who are vulnerable for it, you go and lock yourself away. You can't keep the country locked down. It's destroying our economy. You've got more domestic problems that are happening out there. You've got kids who aren't getting an education. You've got businesses closing. You've got people without jobs losing their homes. There's such an impact on our economy, you know, and a lot of factors that if we don't start addressing them now, we're going to have bigger problems, let alone just what we've got now.